You are live.
All right, welcome everyone to the City Council meeting for August 25th. If we could have a roll call, Madam Clerk, to establish quorum.
Steve Holofield.
Here.
Terry McClung.
Here.
Susan Greening is absent with notice. David Avanzino.
Here.
Rochelle Moyer.
Here.
Harry Meyer.
Here. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, get a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All right, got any corrections or additions?
Can I add
Sure.
just a hospital commission workshop update?
Okay. Also need to defer the minutes for August 11th until our next meeting. So with those additions, get a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, so moved. All right, we have a CAPC applicant, so we need a nomination, or the CAPC is for the nomination, Coltrane Scrivener, for position 3 on the CAPC.
I move we accept Colton Scribner's as the commissioner from the CAPC award, our position 3.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
So we have 4-1. Harry, was that you voting no?
Pardon me?
Who voted no?
I voted.
That's what I asked. Okay, if that was you voting no. All right. Mr. Meyer voted no. All right, we also have a application to reconfirm, actually, Peter Graham had served on the HDC once before, and he resigned had to go out of state, and he came back. So we got a nomination and application for Peter Graham for the HDC.
I nominate Peter Graham for HCC position 1.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of Peter Graham for position 1 in HDC, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, so moved. So we will get Colton Peter sworn in and participating in those 2 deals. All right, next item is public comments. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Ferguson Stewart, 7 Harvey Road. I'm here to hopefully, the motto in Eureka Springs has always been the city that water built. Hope it doesn't become the city that the cost of water killed. So, but I'm here to ask you to do something. Since you're going to raise the rates, I feel, I ask you to do a public session on water management with the public. Help the public save water, because that's really where we're at. We're talking about the water usage. So if you could do a public session, education session, maybe at the library annex to help people understand how to save water, that would be a good thing. Number 2,
Ferguson, if you don't
I'm going
mind.
to put my other hat
Ferguson, I'm going to interrupt you just a second. There's, Avery, there's some kind of weird noise coming through. It sounds like somebody's breathing.
I think it's just him taking breaths between sentences.
I looked for that. I didn't notice it. Sorry, Ferguson.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll wait.
It was taken away from me, actually.
I got you.
Steve heard it too. Okay, thanks. Sorry, Ferguson. Go ahead.
It's okay. So the other thing I was going to tell you about is I'm going to put my other hat on, literally. As a chaplain of the American Legion, I want to announce that we're going to do our 9/11 commemoration on September 11th at Plainer Hill, and that will start at dusk. The fire department, police department will be there. Some of the biker watch will be there. the American Legion will be there, but all those, and the public's invited, so we hope you all show up as council members. So that's all I have.
When is that again?
That's going to be on 9/11 at dusk, September 11th at dusk, at Plainer Hill,
Plainer Hill.
the flagpole. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Richard Webb, and this is my wife, Samantha, both former employees of Eureka Springs Hospital. This all started back in 2023 when Cynthia Asbury was made CFO of ESH. People were getting terminated right and left and for no reason. My wife was wrongfully terminated and fought them through unemployment for months and won her case. When they appealed it, she won that too. Then she went to Miss Becky Gillette of the Independent and told her story. Then me and dozens of others came forward with stories of abuse and wrongdoing inflicted upon them by Cynthia Asbury, CFO, and Jody Edmondson, HR Director. The first article came out on November 6th of 2024 in the Independent, but it started back in 2023. People that had been there for years were either getting terminated unjustly or quitting because they saw illegal things being done and did not want their licenses put in jeopardy. Then we had the matter of a letter sent to the mayor signed by 13 different staff members, including some department heads, nurses, and a doctor that had been there for years, detailing the abuse and wrongdoing being inflicted upon by the staff of the hospital. Where are they now? They're all gone, including Dr. Gary Parkhurst, that was there for many years, only to come into work one day to find he was not allowed to enter the facility. Also, the letter I speak of was never responded to by Mr. Berry. These people have broken many laws and hurt a lot of good people, and it's all on public record. These people are still out there, and they deserve answers and justice for what was done to them. My wife and I will not stop until ourselves and all of them receive that. In secret text messages between current CFO Cynthia Asbury and former hospital commissioner Barbara Diggs, which is illegal and a violation of FOIA law, Ms. Asbury stated, "They are just acting like little kids throwing temper tantrums." And Ms. Diggs' response was, "We just have to weather the storm of Eureka politics." Our response to them both is, we are not kids throwing tantrums. We are good people that had our lives put into turmoil because of their illegal actions.
Samantha Webb, former medical records clerk with ESH. Don't you dare go against the very grain that we've worked so hard to preserve. Look the other way and shh, be quiet. We're living in a patent place where it's forever Groundhog Day. We're not the only ones who feel this way, not by a long shot. We're just the ones who consistently show up even when nobody else will. Business owners who know better than to speak up, members of the community even who would, but threats made, voices silenced. They wouldn't try to silence you if your voice held no power. Isn't that right? They have every right to speak, to make their voices heard, to speak their truth, to know that they won't be dismissed or ignored. This didn't just start in November. I will say that again and again. It started the moment CFO Cynthia Asbury walked through those doors. The one nobody says no to, the one you're still waiting to hear from and won't, not really. But I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. It's the elephant in the room that nobody will look at, and so are we, the employees. From Liz Collins to Charlotte Bunyer, from Tina Adams to Lisa Miller, and to Wade Kennedy, Shan McGee, and April German, Justice Trent, Dr. Parkhurst, Dr. House, just to name a few. My husband took care of the hospital. I was a medical records clerk. Remember that? Yet we continue to be ignored. Damn it. All of us came to you, and it sure wasn't to use up 30 minutes or to be in the spotlight. It was for help. It was to be heard. Instead, it's a storm of Eureka politics. Looks like Barbara Dix isn't the only one weathering it. You took an oath, every last one of you. That means you have a duty to uphold the law, a responsibility, justice, accountability. Your hearts might want to remember that. 5 years ago, Dr. Boronik saw through it, and all he's gotten, all any of us have gotten, in return is crickets. You refuse to acknowledge what all of us went through and experienced, still no spot on the agenda, nothing said at the last workshop, a letter ignored, a betrayal of the public's trust indeed. Sandy Martin has the gall to speak of things she knows nothing about as though she has firsthand knowledge, yet turns around and shakes her finger at the rest of us. Shame on you. None of you can be bothered to make a motion about this? Really? That thought's never crossed your mind? If you're so concerned with the human side of things, why in the world are you still ignoring all of us? It's on public record, for crying out loud. And while they would never show up and speak, everyone who's paying attention, following along, sees what's happening. I promise you that. By the way, funny that no other news outlets, except right here in Eureka, have even attempted to report on the hospital. Justice will not be served until those who are unaffected are as outraged as those who are. Benjamin Franklin, thank you.
Next up is David.
Mr. Mayor, I don't want to alarm anybody, but I think we've got a poltergeist.
Good evening. My name is David Budukali. I'm a citizen here in Eureka Springs and also honored to serve on the Planning Commission. I come to you this evening in opposition of the appeal of the Planning Commission denial of the tree removal permit at 10 Charles Circle. And there's some irony in this, in that I actually voted for this tree removal permit, and I made a mistake. And the mistake was that I didn't do a very good job. I listened to a few others, and I didn't do a very good job of actually reviewing the ordinance and protocol in this matter, which was brought to my attention after I did some research later. The real core issue here is when you come to the city for a tree removal permit in the context of a future building project, you should be required, in most circumstances, you should be required to actually show a set of plans, a permit for that. But too frequently, the precedent has been established that they come for the tree removal permit just basically saying we're going to build it. In this particular case, it's actually more egregious in my opinion. There's 18 trees and there's no permit being asked to be removed, and there's no building permit of any kind, or no specific plans were given. So I don't know this applicant. I don't know this property. I have no dealings with them whatsoever. It's strictly a matter of the ordinance. And I can tell you that EMC 7.56.080, the removal of protected trees, states that if trees are to be removed in anticipation of a construction for which a building permit is required, all documents required in the city's zoning ordinance, such as construction as well as any other drawings, plans, or blueprints, may be required by city building inspectors, code enforcement, and shall be submitted and approved by the city building inspector enforcement before any tree removed pursuant to a tree removal permit. Our city staff doing a great job. They're great assets, but we need to give them some clarity here, because I'm afraid that the precedent has been a bit confusing. So I think we need to elevate the standard back to what the intention of the protocol of the tree ordinance was, and also the city ordinances. Thank you.
Scott.
Good evening. It's Scott Price, 5 Ming Street. There's not much more I can add to what David just spoke about. I'm also on the City Planning Commission as a commissioner, and I did vote no, because specifically we are considered a tree city here in the United States. And once the lot is clear-cut, those trees are gone forever. And that's stated in the ordinance. There was no plan submitted for the new construction. In fact, when the owner was quizzed on construction, she said somewhere between October and next February, March. So it's very nebulous. So if the trees were to be clear-cut now, we never get them back. And there's a possibility that we could save some of the trees once we know what the lot and construction is going to look like. And so we can keep our city green, which is what the rain is helping too. So I appeal to you to stand by what the Planning Commission voted on for rejecting this appeal. There's nothing inherently wrong with what she submitted. It's just that it's premature, and we would definitely consider it again once the building plans for the project are submitted at the same time for the tree removal. Thank you.
That's everybody.
All right, that concludes our public comments. That begins our unfinished business with sewer update. Get a motion to discuss.
So moved.
Second.
All right, Simon, you want to get kind of combination water and sewer?
Yeah, so I'm going to go over both of these a little bit. I don't have a whole lot of updates. I created a PowerPoint this afternoon to kind of share with you guys about the water bills themselves and what they include, because I think a lot
Let's hold off on that one to the item. We got an ordinance when we talk about the ordinance.
The ordinance?
Yeah, that's item number 3.
Okay.
So it just brings us up to date on water and sewer.
So not a whole lot of changes. We did receive the sledge basin aeration, mixing and decanting equipment and the electrical panel this morning. Sean, myself, and some of the sewer plant employees, we mixed and poured a concrete slab for that electrical equipment that's got to be put in there to supply to that equipment. Aside from that, it's just been normal business operations. So, stand for any questions.
All right, anybody have any questions on water and sewer?
Tell us again about Cliff Street.
Cliff Street, we replaced 250 feet of the water line out there. That steel water line was corroded, basically shut, and we replaced about 250 foot of it.
Do you do that with a Schedule 40? Is that what you use, or is it?
No. We use
use that anymore?
We use a CTS pipe. It's poly pipe, thick wall poly. Yes, that Schedule 40 in the ground, I'm not a big fan of it. It'll break and shatter, and it's just problematic for that kind of use.
You got some other water leaks that you're working on?
Yeah, right now we had to head over to Prospect to work on a line that was actually kinked at the tap at 75 Prospect. We'll be finishing that up in the morning, and then we still have the water leak that's up on Alexander that we're going to tackle pretty soon.
Anybody else? All right. Well, we will jump right into and get a motion to discuss the ordinance for the rates, water rates.
So moved.
Second.
All right. We had, Simon's got a PowerPoint, and this came up. We had a committee established that met for the last, we met twice, and part of the process and what we decided out of the committee was we need to make sure that we can try to get more information out to the public and let them know exactly what's going on and why this is happening. I'm not sure whether or not the public really realizes what the state is mandating us to do, and that's where we came up with our water rate study and sewer rate study, and basically making our water and sewer self-sufficient, and basically meaning that we don't have to put, the city won't have to put any money into the water and sewer from its tax revenue, that it's going to be making enough money off its own tax rates. For years, in the past, the city has subsidized water and sewer to the tune of several hundred thousands of dollars that's still out there. But in the meantime, one of the things, we looked at various issues, and we pretty much decided, I think, that the water rates will be self-sustaining, but what we may need to do is do something about increasing our reserves so we can do more work. And in 5 years, these rate studies are going to be required to be redone in 5 years. So hopefully in 5 years we can look at it, and the rate increase won't be near as much, because hopefully we'll have a method where we will solve a lot of our infrastructure and through there. And I think that's what a lot of the people, and I think the city council wants to see. But a lot of this, I think, has to do with getting the information out to the public about what we're doing and how we're going about doing that. And I think part of that, and that's what we're trying to do right now. And Simon, I'll let you kind of segue into this of what we're doing and looking on our water bills to be our first step into notifying the public and trying to educate the public somewhat.
Right. So this afternoon, I spent a little bit of time building a little quick PowerPoint to try to present here, and I'll share this on Facebook tomorrow probably. I think there's a lot of misconception and misinformation that's going along regarding water bills and what they include. So we'll follow through with this PowerPoint. So pretty much how to read your water bill. We put information on the back. It's important information that we put out regarding your rates, different information like lead and copper, or our community consumer confidence report, and that kind of stuff. So make sure you read the front and the back of your bill. So I apologize, it didn't come quite through correctly on the slide that you guys are seeing. But what does the front of the bill contain? If you look at your bill, it could be kind of confusing, and a lot of people think that the bill itself, the total, is just for water, but that's not necessarily the case. So I numbered these different items on the bill, 1 through 10 in red. So we'll start with the water portion of the bill. The part that says water for $17.98, that is the part that of the bill that shows what you're being billed money-wise for that water that you used. Section 2 is the I&I portion of the bill that's based off the water usage. This amount is used to offset the expenses dealing with the infrastructure improvements. Next slide. Number 5 is a clean water fee. It's a fee that's collected and paid to the state of Arkansas. Next slide. Number 4, the part that says sewer, that's the part where we're billing for the sewer. So the sewer collection, that handles all the collection, the distribution, or the collection and the treatment of your wastewater. And then sections 3 and section 6 are both provided by Carroll County Solid Waste, and they have to do with your sanitation or your trash collection. So sometimes it'll say sanitation, sometimes it'll say poly 1X, or there's a few different things that it'll say, but the fuel surcharge and the sanitation all comes from Carroll County Solid Waste.
And this is a pass-on fee. The city doesn't add anything to it. This Correct. Is straight from Carroll County Solid Waste.
Correct. Next
and
slide.
That's a nonprofit.
A nonprofit, correct.
So now 7, 8, 9, and 10. Number 7 is the date that the last payment was made. Number 8 is the amount of that last payment. Number 9 is the serial number of your water meter. And then number 10 includes 2 different prices. The top one is if you pay after the 15th, and the bottom one is if you pay before the 15th. So now we'll go into Act 605 and 925. So Act 605 of 2021 requires that all water providers prepare a rate study every 5 years or before any major development projects. The rates are determined from the study are required to be implemented within 1 year of the study completion. Failure to complete the rate study or implement the rate study within 1 year of completion of the study will result in the water provider being found in fiscal distress.
And what does that mean, Simon?
So basically what that means is it'll cause funding issues from the state grants, and it could potentially require us to go put our infrastructure out to a contractor to maintain. So what that can mean is we have to hire somebody that operates our sewer plant and that oversees our infrastructure. If we were to do that, our costs would increase dramatically. Act 925 of 2025 is very similar to Act 605, pretty much spot on the same. The only difference is it deals with the wastewater side of things. So the new rates and how they'll affect you. I think there's a lot of misconception about how much these rates are actually going to increase. Our average residential bill is less than 2,000 gallons. The current amount charged for water amounting less than 2,000 gallons is $17.98, and sewer is also $17.98. Plus there's a $5 I&I fee, which totals $40.96. The new proposed rate that you'll be voting on tonight will be, the new rate will be $20.68. It'll be based off your meter size. The majority of the meters in the city are 5/8 meters. You'll be charged $1 for the first 2,000 gallons used, and then $5 for I&I. The sewer proposed rate will be $19.80 plus $2 for the first 2,000 gallons. This will result in a total water and sewer bill of $48.48. Now, this doesn't include the clean water fee, sanitation. This is water and sewer only. So the increase for the first 2,000 gallons used, if you have water and sewer inside the city limits, will be $7.52 per month, plus taxes, which the water side is the only side that you're taxed on. Is there any questions about that? The bills, yes.
The I&I, $5, what's that money spent on?
That's infrastructure and improvement, so that'd be bigger projects, capital improvement projects, type stuff like that.
It's only for capital improvements, for water and sewer lines. It's not for any wages or anything like that. So strictly capital.
Is that money put in the account then just used as needed, or?
Yeah, so like the meter swap over that we just did with the meters over the last few years, that was paid for out of I&I. The leak remediation that we did, we spent a lot of money on that a year or two ago. We used I&I for that.
Who sets that $5? Who sets the amount?
So the amount is set by the municipal code that is adopted by council.
Hey, Mr. Meyer.
We didn't raise that here with this. We've had it for a few years. And doesn't Act 605 require something like that,
They
right?
do. So they have a replenishment and replacement account, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember what the name of it is.
There's a percentage of your water and sewer bills that'll have to go in a separate account for capital improvement projects.
Yeah.
Mr. McClung.
That amount you're talking about there gets pulled out. It's already factored into the water bill. The I&I is something that I hope to put on the agenda for our next meeting, and where we can do an ordinance to do away with it.
Do away with it.
Yeah.
Ms. Moyer.
So I just have some more general comments, but not questions necessarily. I went back and looked at the McClellan report, and it looks like over the next 10 years, there's somewhere over $100 million worth of improvements needed. I think it's a bit short-sighted to think that our citizens and increased water rates are going to be able to keep up with that. I believe that the increases and its impact on citizens as it's being presented, while I appreciate the time you took to break it down, is minimized. There is an impact on our citizens' budgets, and I fully understand that the city doesn't have the funds to continue to subsidize these. I think a bond issue is a really good option to look into seriously, and more sooner rather than later. I was looking through, you guys heard me ask Michael about the budget mid-year adjustments, and thanks to Simon and his team reducing water loss, like we're basically moved from $650,000 cost on water purchase now to $520,000, right? So we're gaining $130,000. If you look at the projections from the water study on page 18, projected for 2025, with that $650,000, right, the original budgeted amount to spend on the water purchase, But that carries through to a loss of $109,000. So then add $130,000 to that, and we're out of the negative. So what that says to me is just with the changes the Public Works has made, we've been able to get our water purchase expense under control to the extent that we are not projected to be in the red here. And what that tells me is if that continues, maybe we can even get a better rate on water loss as we move forward and you guys continue to make those changes. What that shows me is that, that the rates pay for it with the increases that we've already done, pay for the expenses from the department. And so what we really lack is infrastructure money. We lack that several $100 million for the next 10 years in order to make those needed improvements. So I really don't see how water rate increase is going to pay for that, and this is why I'm advocating that we really look seriously at a sales tax to secure a bond issue. I mean, this is, again, I'm in a position where this is not my training, but I could see where a 1% tax could raise $30 million. So I guess what I'm saying is I'd like to know what the impact of a decreased water usage and expense is on the projected operating income for this, because it seems like we're going to be able to cover it. And the idea is that if our rates can cover operating costs, then the bond can cover the infrastructure improvements, then we wouldn't need to continue this aggressive rate increase on our citizens, knowing that this is not going to be the answer anyway. Additionally, if you look at the wastewater rate study, we've got the $6 million. If we did a bond issue, we could include that and then eliminate this interest on debt of $300,000 per year. So we're going to look better on the sewer side as well. So that is just food for thought to put out there. But before moving forward on approval for the next rate increase, I think I would prefer to table this and maybe have the Mayor's Commission review these and look to see if this is actually correct. And I just think we should do everything we can to protect our citizens' budgets. If it's not, we may need a rate increase, but maybe it's not the aggressive structure that's been presented before we knew where we actually stood on water usage and expense. And it's likely going to require another water rate study. So I don't fully know how all this works out on the timing. My guess is the earliest we could put it on the ballot would be February, or that's a question, I don't know.
The legislature recently changed the calling of special elections, so this may be something that has to wait until a general election.
Okay.
I don't want to cut you off, Ms. Moy, because you have some great ideas. Our committee's met twice already, and you kind of...
Did they talk about this?
Yes.
They talked about the increase of $130,000?
Talked about doing a sales tax.
And what was the consensus?
Well, right now, there's several different items. We've got one more meeting that we're going to meet on before we come to the final conclusion that we'll bring to the City Council. The consensus was we need to go ahead and follow the rate study because it's mandated by the state to go ahead and do that, and go ahead and do the sales tax and start educating the public. The last time we had a sales tax, we got defeated almost 75-25. And that sales tax went toward water and sewer, almost 100%. It was 75% to the water and sewer and 25% to the auditorium. But it wouldn't have mattered, I don't think, if it would have been 100% water and sewer. The attitude was just it was defeated because of various reasons. the consensus of the group feels that this is a good time. Whether we put a sunset clause on it or whether it's a permanent sales tax is still being debated among the group. But we're also looking at how to handle that sales tax. But that's going to be the next subject that we're going to be talking about. And then, as you said, once we get the sales tax, if it passes, then we can take that and get a bond issue going with the sales tax paying for the bond issue. So we can pay for extra infrastructure that you're talking about and referring to. So hopefully when this comes back up in 5 years and we look at the rate study again, we won't have these drastic rates. And they're really not that drastic. You say they're drastic, but overall, we're still in the middle of Northwest Arkansas with our water rates. When you look at Huntsville, $100 is their minimum or more. And so we're doing pretty well keeping our rates down as much as we can. And it's still, although, it's a lot of money, and I think we all know that. And we don't have any control over our gas or our electric and our water. It's something we're trying to control, and we're doing with Simon and his group, and getting the water rates or the water loss down helps a lot. And I think the sales tax, because once again, the majority of our sales tax comes from visitors, and they supplement and use the water. And I mean, if we were in town at 2,000 people or 2,300, it would be different, but we're not. We're a lot larger. And so I think the ultimate thing that the committee is coming out with is probably a sales tax, but the most important thing is also right now is getting the word out and talking to people and educating people on the water. And I think, I don't know whether it was, Ferg was talking about doing a workshop. We talked about having doing a workshop and talking to people about water conservation. I think we're already trying to do the Tushy, which is a great water conservation idea. And we'll see how that works on there. So we're following what you're saying along those lines right now. And at our next council meeting, I'm hoping to come back with a final recommendation from the committee. Mr. Myers?
If we remove the I&I, then we're going to have to add that requirement. No,
that's not
okay.
Correct. Because of the Act 605 requires that we put money back in this R&R account, and it would just change, and then the percentage will be automatically inputted through the finance department into that account.
Well, every year we get a raise on our water rates. I mean, at least we've been getting raises on our water rate from the Carroll Water District every year. So we have to count on that, and we do have to follow 605 or.
What was our water rate increase, Simon, from the Carroll Boone? I think they sent us something. I don't remember what it was.
So I updated my little water comparison chart that I have, the little Excel file, and added Carroll Boone water to it, Washington, Benton County water, and Beaver water to it, and kind of came up with their percentages. So over the history of Carroll Boone water, they've increased 7% per year since 1999. They're projecting a 5 cent a year increase for the next few years. I don't,
5 cents, 5%.
5 cents. And I don't think their projection is really realistic, but, that's their place to decide that.
Ms. Moyer?
So that's not 20%, just for the record. Also, I just had a question, probably this is a legal question, and that is if we were to delay the passing of the ordinance, would we be in non-compliance with any acts if we were to hold off?
I don't know the answer to that, but I can find out.
Okay.
Simon, do you know?
Yeah, the state's already approved these rates, and if you want to change the rates, we're going to have to start the whole thing over again.
I understand that, for sure.
So,
yeah. And I think that they're probably, it's possible that there would be a rate increase required, but whether it would match what's been projected based on the water rate study before, I think it's going to look different.
Our biggest issue is that we historically have not had enough revenue to deal with our depreciation of assets, our replacement of infrastructure.
I understand.
We have water lines that are still in the ground from the 1800s, and I
Yep.
can fix water leaks all day long, and then tomorrow more are going to pop up.
$100 million worth of infrastructure improvement, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you figure to replace water line, the last contract I sent out for water line replacement for 8-inch water line in a residential area was $1 million a mile. I mean, it's not cheap. It's very expensive work. And then plus we got the sewer plant issues that we're dealing with right now. We're looking at possibly going up to $10 million just on repairing some stuff out there. And that's not the end of it. But the problem is we're not building any capital for tomorrow. You know, we're trying to deal with a lot of problems today, but we're not planning out tomorrow. And that's the biggest issue we have. And why
I
it's so
absolutely agree with you, Simon. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So we're down to what, 32% water leakage, 33, you said?
Yeah.
Is that going to keep going down, you think? I know
think
you're
it's
playing
gonna
whack-a-mole with all the leaks, but
Yeah,
still.
I think it's going to vary. I mean, it's never going to be a consistent number. It could go up, it could go down. You know, if I wish I had a superpower, it'd be, X-ray vision so I could see the infrastructure in the ground, but also predicting the future so I knew it was going to break tomorrow, so we could attack it today.
But the ongoing leaks, you're tackling those ones that's been leaking in the ground for years and stuff.
Yeah, so we hired the McKim & Creed a couple of years ago to come through, and they identified some major leaks that we had, and we've tackled those. Those are all taken care of.
That's all taken care of.
Yeah, but we have new ones that pop up all the time, and we're constantly attacking them.
Saving $131,000, that's nice, so.
Simon can correct me, but in the past, we had, 50 to 60% water leaks.
60%, yeah.
And I think at one point, somebody told me that if we can get down, every city in America, if you get 30% water loss, you're doing good. So if we can get 25 to 35%, we're in the average. Because like Simon said, you're always going to have water leaks.
Right. One more thing here. This is great, presenting this to us, but how are you going to present it to the public?
I'm going to snip it and I'm going to post it on the Facebook. So, and when I walk back, I'm going to hand a copy to the newspaper. Maybe they'll get a copy in there too. I don't know. I've got some notes wrote in mine, so maybe hopefully they don't put my notes in there. But we've got to work some way to get word out to the public. And unfortunately, the way we go about doing that doesn't necessarily reach everybody. But we'll try to get the word out as much as possible. I think the main thing when I go tomorrow and I post it on Facebook, I'll attach links so you go to the Arkansas Department of Natural Resources and see Act 605 and what it says. I think it's super important that people pay attention to that because the state is taking that out of y'all's hands for a big part, and maybe rightfully so. I mean, you look at Bethel Heights, which doesn't exist anymore because of their issues, or Helena, West Helena, that's out of water for months on end, having to call the National Guard in to supply water. And I think the state's trying to avoid that and take care of the people the best they can.
Mr. McClung?
Yeah, the Water Committee is really serious with their commitment to try and help achieve a solution to spread out the expense of the infrastructure replacement. Exactly what you're suggesting is our number one thing. It's really the only true avenue that we have, working along with. But this is going to have to go. It's going to have to be an integrated part of it. The state requires it. That's the killer. We don't have any real flexibility with it. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. But we're going ahead. Hopefully after the next meeting, the recommendations will be made, and suggested to the city with some additional discussion. But yeah, I think when it comes around to the next election, it'll be on there. I think there'll be a sales tax on there, and so along with that. And we can discuss this, and we will discuss this more, but as far as the water rates go, I would like to make a motion that we suspend the rules and read ordinance number 2371 for its third and final reading by title only.
I second.
All right, got a motion and a second. Discussion.
I think it's a mistake.
All right.
What's the harm in holding off? We have our attorney who's going to look to see if we would actually be in noncompliance if we don't vote it right now. And we wait until we get a full report from the commission, and then we make a decision then.
Several. One is we're not going to be able to do a sales tax for another year. We're not going to be able to wait a year to implement this. Two is we have to implement this at some point. We're already technically, when this was supposed
we're
to be.
already a few months behind on this. This should have been implemented a while back, and
Right.
we're already, the states approved it for back in July to start, and it didn't take
Took
place.
a while to get the rate study, didn't it?
And the only thing we're going to do is push it off for a month, and then we're going to come back and have to approve it anyway. And I don't want to pay it any more than anybody else, but the sooner we get it enacted, the better off we'll be.
I disagree, but I think
Anybody else? Yes, Mr. Avanzino.
What was the deadline on having this done, Simon?
I don't remember, David. I think it's this year, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay. I mean, I do agree with Rochelle on this, but I also know that if we don't act upon the deadline issue, then we're in really bad trouble. Is that correct?
What was the question?
I think our
Madam
attorney
Attorney.
is looking at that.
Oh.
May not be a.
Well, what it means is that you could be, if you don't implement the rate increases according to your rate study, the Department of Health or ADQ could determine that you're in fiscal distress, which means then you're going to lose out on some grant monies and things like that. You lose control over some of your finances if you don't implement the rate study.
And would they only look at the rate study, or would they look at the current budget?
I'm not sure about that.
Because
we
I don't know.
don't,
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but if we don't move, we jeopardize the current financing situation we have with the state on that loan for the sewer plant. I mean, that's all
I just want to make sure that that's
integrated into all of it.
actually true, right? I mean, that's our fear, but is that actually the facts?
Well, that's what the engineer told us.
We also have an application in too, Simon. Didn't we just put one in?
Yes.
Last council meeting, the week
Yeah, that's
before?
correct. We did another one for just over $4 million for grants, but we also have a loan right now that is pending through the Arkansas Department of Natural Resources that are dependent on us just doing this rate to be able to fund that sewer plant remodel.
Is that true?
Let me get
Well, don't forget, folks, probably at our next meeting, we're going to remove the I&I, so that will cut it back, especially for people that use more than the 2,000 gallon, because, I mean, there's as much as a $50 charge on I&I, so that's going to help.
Does Michael have?
So we did the rate study, was presented to and accepted by council in March of 25. We have 2 years to get those rates into place because ours went up over 50%. If you were under 50%, you had a year. If you're over 50%, you have 2 years. So the way the rate structure was presented to the state is we didn't want to have to implement all of the rate at one time, so we implemented it over time. So you have a 25% now, you have an 8% in January, and then we'll be coming back for an 8% in January of 27. So that's where those are at. We were supposed to implement this in July, which is what the state had approved, and I talked to the McClellan today about the financing, and we have applied for this financing based upon this rate study and what we're putting the rates at. So they could come back and say, we're not going to approve your rate, or we're not going to approve your loan, the $6 million that we need. We're not going to approve your loan because you haven't done the rates yet. They even said that we may, because what I did was go ahead and put in this ordinance for July and January. I didn't put January of 27 in there yet because I wanted to kind of see how we were going and, you know, where we needed to be. But they said they may require us to have that locked down also. So we may have to come back and go ahead and ask for that 7 to be instituted in January of 2027 automatically. So those are some dates that are important. Another thing to keep in mind is what they're looking, and why these rates are important, is the rates are not there to to pay for these capital improvements. They're there to make sure that our debt ratio coverage is high enough that we can afford the financing to make these large projects. And, you know, it even states in the 605 that if we go to another project and have to do another large project, we'll have to do another rate study to make sure that we can, you know, to do that. But this is to make sure that the water department can operate and the sewer department can operate on the monies that they're bringing in. Also, you have in your packet that I provided today, where I went through and analyzed a lot of bills to see what people are currently paying and what they're going to be paying, and it shows you what the monthly difference is going to be and what the annual difference is going to be. And I did it on the 5/8 meter because that's our largest group of meters. I also did it on the 1-inch meters and the 2-inch meters so that you can kind of see. And that's why they did the different structures, is to try to pass that expense along to our bigger meters.
Thank you so much for bringing facts to the conversation. So that answers my question, right? Is you're saying, if I understand what you're saying, that even though our financial situation might look better and our current rates can cover operating cost, what you're saying is financing we've already applied for is going by the rate study.
Yes.
Okay,
because
thank you.
what they do is they have taken our historical numbers, and like you'll see in that rate study, he's taken our historical numbers and then he's shown you what happens if we don't do anything, if we stay at the rates where we're at, and he's also shown you what those improved rates would be of how it's going to affect our financial position. The better our financial position, then the better we are to borrow, do bonds, be able to do that kind of stuff at lower rates, and be able to finance those. And so that's kind of the purpose, is getting your water department, because that's what's happening with water departments, is they are losing money, and then they come in and they're trying to borrow $10 million, and the lenders come back and say, no, you know, you can't pay for even just, you know, you're keeping the lights on. So how am I going to expect you to pay that back? So that's what this rate study is to get you into a financial position to where your debt coverage ratio is high enough so that you can afford that long-term financing to finance those big projects. It's not to pay for those big projects out of those rates. It's to get the financing and then be able to make the payments out of it.
And Ms. Moyer, the law does, it says shall, so you have to do the rate study and you have to implement the rates. The General Assembly has basically taken this out of your hands and is requiring you to perform these studies and then implement the rates.
Also in your packet that I gave you a really good synopsis of Act 605 that I got from the Arkansas website that tells why we're having to do it, what its purpose is, what it's for, and it also discusses the fiscal distress in there. If we don't do it, they find us in the fiscal distress. And a lot of that has to do with, did we do the rates at the rate? Because this rate study, this took almost a year to do the rate study. And this person who did it is an outside source, has nothing in it. They're approved by the state of Arkansas. They had to be approved. They had to provide us with a rate study, and so it aligns it in there to tell us how we're supposed to operate. The question that we have is, when do we implement them? And it's, when is it going to be the most effective to help us? And like the 925, is it 925? What's the number for the sewer one?
For this, yeah.
Okay. You know, it's a later act, but we're also including that in there because part of our major project is the sewer. So that's why we're including that in there also.
Well, I appreciate the discussion, and then now that I think that we've had this public discussion, the people that have questions about what we can do and why these rates are going higher can watch this meeting and they will understand it. So thank you.
They might. and
Well,
some of them won't, they'll still won't understand it. Now, I think it's also important to point out too, we're doing a 25% increase right now. January, it's only 8%. Next year will be 8%. So it's not a 25% for the next 5 years.
Is it 25 or 20?
It's 25 water and 20 wastewater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's only 8%. I think this is important. It's 8% in January, which is a lot less.
And if you'll look over, the sample bills that I gave you, and there's also some sample bills in the rate study that you have, it affects different levels differently. So some of your levels is at 18 to 20%. Some of it is a more of a 22, 23% as you get more usage and you get higher in there. So on our typical customers, it's going to be probably about a 20% increase. Yeah.
We have people that struggle to pay what they're paying now.
Yes.
So 20% is a lot of money.
Oh, absolutely it is, without a doubt, and especially when you consider other utility bills that are going up and everything else. And that's why, we're trying to look and see other methods, and as Mr. McClung said, if we can take out, those people that it's affecting, they may only have a $5 I&I fund, but it's going to help them reduce it by $5. It goes, what, 5, 15, 25?
5, 10, 50.
5, 10, 15. Occasionally we reach a $10 one, but seldom. Most of ours is 5. But it's the other ones, your motels, hotels, they're always in the $25 or the $15 ones and more. So, yeah. And they're also the higher usage, the higher costs. So. All right, anybody else? Any other questions? All right, we got a motion and a second to suspend the rules and place ordinance 2371 on its reading for the third and final time. So, roll call.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
Rochelle Moyer.
Yes.
There's an error on the chart.
Probably should take a look here.
There's an error on this chart. We need to modify it to match this. It should be, sorry, I'll show you. The rate study has us doing it from 2 to 6 and then 6 and over. The old one was 2 to 8 and it didn't get changed over, so we need to do that before we approve it.
Okay, do y'all have your ordinance right in front of you? All right, there is a mistyping on there, the old ordinance under usage charge per 1,000 gallons had 2001 to 8,000, and it should have read 2001 to 6,000. Right in the middle of under usage charge per 1,000 gallons.
This is in the new one?
Yes. Well,
So,
I think the ordinance that you're looking at probably says,
so in the new ordinance, we had put the old rate structure of 0 to 2,000, 2001 to 8,000, 8,001 and over. If you look at that other sheet that we attached with a new chart, the rate study actually has us going 0 to 2,000, 2001 to 6,000, and 6,001 and over. So that needs to be changed in the ordinance before we approve it.
Okay, so we need an amendment.
Yeah.
need to amend the
Okay,
ordinance.
did somebody get that so they can do the amendment, or can you give us the detail of that
We
again
need
for
to
what's
amend the
specifically
ordinance,
needed?
changing from 2001 to 8,000 gallons per 1,000 gallons, and from 2001 to 8,000 to 2001 to 6,000.
And then from 6,000 up, right?
And 6,000 up.
In all locations that it's mentioned?
That's only twice, yes. 2001,
Sewer
6,000,
doesn't affect
6,001 and over, and then down below.
Doesn't affect the sewer?
Both on water and wastewater, we need to change the usage to a structure. It's this separate paper attached. This is what it should look like. And then the ordinance that you have is what we need to correct it from.
Okay, I make a motion, ordinance 2371, to make an adjustment under wastewater rates, minimum monthly charge, 2001 to 6,000, 6,001 and over, and then below that, 2001 to 6,000 outside and 6,001 and over outside.
For
right?
water and sewer.
For water and sewer.
Water and
Is that good?
Yeah. All right, everybody understand the amendment there? All right.
Did you get a second?
No, I didn't.
Second.
All right. Mr. Holyfield made the motion and Mr. McClung seconded. Any further discussion on the amendment? Okay, roll call.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Rochelle Moyer,
Yes.
Terry McClung.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, now we can,
Read. Yeah, we're already voted to read it. All she needs to do is read it.
yeah,
Approve.
approve
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
read
You
it.
got to read it.
Yep.
by title only.
I'll get there eventually, Terry, I promise.
She caught the mistake, though.
An ordinance increasing the rates for water, ordinance number 2371, an ordinance increasing the rates for water and wastewater usage.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve ordinance number 2371 on its third and final reading.
Second.
Mr. McClung made the motion and Mr. Myers seconded. So, roll call.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Rochelle Moyer,
Yes.
Steve Holofield.
Yes.
Mr. McClung,
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we invoke the emergency clause.
Oh, yeah. Second.
Mr. McClung made the motion to invoke the emergency clause. Mr. Myers seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none.
Rochelle Moyer,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yes?
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Harry Meyer.
Yes.
So, emergency clause, section 7, that due to need to consistently apply all laws and ordinances of the city of Eureka Springs, Arkansas for the health and safety of the citizens of the city, an emergency is hereby declared to exist, and this ordinance shall take effect upon passage by the Eureka Springs City Council, signing by the Eureka Springs Mayor and City Clerk Treasurer, and posting of the ordinance.
Thank you all very much. Okay, our next item of business, appeal denial of the tree removal permit at 10 Charles Circle.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
Second. We have somebody from the Planning Commission or somebody to talk about this? Paul, are you here? Can you, or Cassie's here. Is Cassie here? Yeah. All right. Didn't see you back there.
Hi, I'm Cassie Dishman. For those of you who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet, I'm the Director of Preservation and Planning. Mr. Mayor, I also believe that Chairman Ferguson Stewart is here, as well as the applicant of the appeal.
Yeah. You want to kind of bring us up to summary on what's happening?
Yes, so this application was brought to us by Susan Leahy. She worked with Paul to mark the trees and prepare the application that went to the Board of Zoning Adjustment at our most recent meeting. It was denied on a vote of 3 yeas, 1 nay, and 1 abstention. We also had 2 absences with notice, so it failed due to a lack of the required quorum of yea votes.
Okay. Mr. Myers, do you have
I can understand why they voted no. Of course, the ordinance states that they have to submit a plan and possibly even a construction date. A lot right next to me, about 5-6 years ago, a guy got a permit to cut 10 trees. He cut them down and left them lay and never built the first structure. So we left it for someone else to clean up. So I think this is very appropriate to follow their guideline. I move that we deny this appeal.
I would just like to hear the other, what Paul has to say, and didn't you say Ms. Leahy was here?
I do, and I have a little bit more if you'd like to hear from me.
Thank you.
So I know one of my commissioners, Mr. David Budicali, was up here earlier giving a public comment. He referenced a part of the tree code that does say that all documents required under the city's zoning ordinance for construction, such as drawing plans or blueprints, are required by the city building inspector and code enforcement officer. The only plans for residential zones that are seen by the planning commission or the board of zoning adjustment is when they're asking for a zoning variance, which is not being asked for here. Further in that code, while it does not say that plans are required to be approved by the building inspector for the tree removal application to be approved, it says that they must be approved by the building inspector before a tree can be cut. So this application can be approved and no tree can be cut until building plans are approved by the building inspector, and in this case, due to its location, by the Historic District Commission.
The only thing I'll add to that is that if you was to go out there to the property, she did mark the pins to where the building is going to go, and this is pretty normal procedure of what I've been through in the last year. Thank you.
Okay, so the way I understand it is they ask for the permit. You go out there, Paul, and discuss with them what trees are going to be cut. She gave you a footprint of where the house would be, just not a construction plan, which can come, from what I understand, after the permit has been approved.
Well, she had showed her preliminary drawings. It's just not 100% done. Keep in mind, her goal is to this process. She's wanting to get the house going, and this is just her first step. That's the reason why she came to us.
And Cassie, as you said, sorry, Steve. Cassie, as you said, we can approve her appeal because the way the ordinance is written, she does not need a building plan until after this portion is done. Correct.
The ordinance states that construction plans shall be submitted to and approved by the city building inspector before any tree is removed pursuant to a tree removal permit.
Mr. McClung?
The position, the building inspector, the commissioners have all changed many times over the years. When this was all written, the intention was, and has been in the past, that those plans are submitted to the Planning Commission as well, that they see that and that the drawings are complete. I mean, you can go back in the Planning Commission files, I just about bet you 20-0 that you're going to find that, you know, 6 years ago, 8 years ago, 4 years ago even probably, that they were there, and that if, for any new build, that's the way it was done. So, I mean, it's just subject to interpretation, and I think that the plans are, that it does call for the plans, building plans, to be submitted to the Planning Commission.
I guess my only question, or I see your point, however, the Planning Commission was greatly involved in the rewriting of this ordinance. I mean, they practically did it themselves. So they know, and they put it in the ordinance that the plans would not have to be presented.
I don't know how the ordinance, I don't believe it's changed any in the last number of years in that respect. You know, all they changed were the requirements of trees of being inspected by an arborist and the fees and that kind of thing. That's all they worked on the last time.
That's right.
They didn't work on the other guts of the ordinance. And now maybe there needs to be some clarification and cleanup, because as time goes by, everything gets subject to interpretation and people look at it differently. But that was not the intent, or nor has that historically been the way it's done. It's gone to the Planning Commission.
Mr. Holyfield?
So the building inspector, when you go out there and look at the property, and they have a house plan, they tell you where the house is going to go, and then you look at the trees that are going to be cut down?
Typically, what we do is we'll kind of they lay out where their house is going to go on with the stakes and pins, and then they show us a little drawing. Not necessarily it's a full set house plan. However, the code reads that before they give them a tree permit, they got to have a house plan.
I think the fear of everybody is somebody comes to town, buys a lot full of trees, and go, I'm going to build a house, cut every tree off this lot, and I'll figure it out later. Is that possible?
Not the way the code reads.
Okay. And to change gear here a little bit, I watched that meeting, and it was kind of a perfect storm. 2 people weren't there, 1 person recused himself, and then just 4 people left to vote. 1 person voted no, so you have to defeat it. But also I noticed in several of the last meetings, the same person recuses himself on every tree cut permit. Can you tell me why a commissioner is refusing to vote on this issue?
I do not know why that commissioner is continuously abstaining. You would have to speak to that commissioner yourself.
Is that a violation of the Code of Ethics if a person just decides not to vote on certain issues or ordinances on a commission?
Repeat that.
So if we have a commissioner who says, I'm not going to vote on any permit on tree cut, is that a violation of the Code of Ethics? Can we remove that commissioner?
I'm not familiar with the Code of Ethics. I would have to look that up, but your commissioners are appointed by your mayor and I assume confirmed by you, right? And you would have the authority to remove those commissioners if you so chose to.
Okay. Because before we've been told we have to have due cause. Is this due cause?
I would have to look at your Code of Ethics and look at your ordinance.
I'm not suggesting that tonight, but this is a consideration. We have commissioners. If they're refusing to do something because they don't agree with the city code, then we have a problem. This was a perfect storm. This person, if he voted one way or the other, we might not even be discussing this tonight. So,
Mr. McClung?
Well, I'm not sure what you're saying exactly. I mean, if they choose to vote no, is that what he's doing? Is he just voting no, or he's just abstaining?
He's abstaining every time.
That's a no.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Pass.
Basically, it's a no vote, but you should vote.
Yeah.
That, my opinion's always been that, yeah. Mr. Meyer?
Well, if you go up and look at Corley Heights, and you can see how close some of those trees are to the houses, they submitted a plan and they staked it out on the ground around the trees so they knew exactly what trees they had to take down. And I think that's the way the ordinance is meant to do.
Is that not what the building inspector said happened? did they not stake the footprint of the house out
They did.
in this case?
They did.
Yeah. They did or did not?
She did stake out the footprint, yes.
She did.
Yes.
And again, to reiterate what Paul was saying, is before any tree can be cut, they have to submit the plans to the building inspector and get a building permit. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'd like to go ahead and make a motion that we approve this appeal.
I've already made a motion.
There wasn't a second, though. I didn't hear a second. Was there a second?
I'll second. Harry, did you make the motion?
No, he voted to.
I made a motion.
To deny.
Deny.
Oh.
Well, either way, I mean, if it's still, you just vote one way or the other, so it works the same either way.
I guess.
But we need to make the vote in the affirmative, correct? The motion in the
I don't think
affirmative.
it works the same way. If you vote to deny the appeal, it stands, but I think there should also be a separate motion to approve.
Yeah.
All right.
So, I'm sorry. Okay, Harry, Mr. Meyer made the motion. Was there a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
To deny the permit. Okay. All right, Mr. Meyer made the motion to deny the appeal, and Mr. McClung seconded. Roll call on that.
David Avanzino,
No.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
Rochelle Moyer,
No.
Steve Holofield.
No.
Failed.
So is there another motion?
I make a motion that we approve this appeal.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, so Mr. Avanzino made a motion to approve the appeal, and Mr. Holyfield seconded. Any further discussion? All right, roll call.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
No?
Harry Meyer,
No.
Rochelle Moyer,
Yes.
David Avanzino.
Yes.
It's 3-2.
All right, I'll vote yes.
And
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman, for your question about the commissioner, that can be, a commissioner can be removed on a recommendation from the mayor and a majority vote of council if you feel it's in the best interest of the city. That is the standard that's in your ordinance.
For planning and, yeah. Okay. All right, so we're on to second item.
So it failed.
So you gave a yes, right? So the appeal's approved. Okay, thank you.
Motion to discuss the parks
All right.
request.
Motion discussed. I have a second.
Second.
All right.
Oh, we got all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we.
Everybody got a copy?
Yeah, we got it.
Just want to say one thing right off the bat. There is a Moyer, there's a Meyer, and there's a mayor up here, so it's getting a little confusing, guys. Just want to say that. Actually, there's two Meyers up here.
Two Meyers.
Yeah, don't forget.
Meyer be not.
All right.
So essentially, we're applying for a 50-50 matching grant through the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism. And one of the stipulations or requirements is that we come to City Council, give a rundown of what the grant would mean, what the project is intended for, and then get y'all's approval or denial on the project so that y'all are familiar with what we're doing. Yes.
Okay, it's, the grant is 400 total?
The estimated cost of the project is approximated around 400, so the grant would pay for 200 of it.
Okay.
It's matching, so whatever we spend, they'll reimburse 50%.
Do you feel comfortable with Parks being able to accept that 200,000 responsibility?
What do you mean by that?
Well, you got to come up with 200,000 of the money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be applying for it if I didn't feel like we were able to afford it.
Well, I want to hear you say it. That's why I asked that.
Yeah, well, I went through some number crunching as well as, reaching out to certain lenders in the community that might be able to help.
You didn't give us those numbers here.
What's that? Sorry. And I did figure out we can secure a loan for 5.75% interest rate up to 200,000. I think it could be more than 200,000, but I don't predict that being the case. And is
that an unsecured loan?
Unsecured loan, correct.
Unsecured loan.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So we would.
Can they do that? That's what
they're not securing. They're not.
I think you would probably have to be the one on the hook for it. I would think.
I think so too. I'd really, the city attorney, kind of not sure. I know it can't be a secured loan. Now, an unsecured loan.
I don't think you can put. Well, you'd have to borrow it against something other than like Leatherwood. You couldn't do that.
You can't do it. It's an unsecured loan, so they're not attaching anything to it.
Right, unsecured.
Yeah, so is there any restrictions that you know of for unsecured loans for a commission?
Not off the top of my head, but I can look for something.
They're putting you to work.
You are. I'm going to have an entire list of notes, although we've covered a bunch of them. But
Ms. McClung, go ahead.
Yeah, it's. I think for purposes of where we are right now, because this is, he's making the application for that grant, and the process is beginning. That I think we can follow through and approve this, and when it comes, then we'll know when it comes down to the cutting at the end, how we have to be responsible for that debt that the city incurs, whether it's parks.
Yeah, I don't think there's any problem with applying for the grant, and then if you can't meet the criteria at the end, that would work itself out.
I agree. So
will we have to approve the loan?
Yes,
that's what I thought.
Council would have to approve that borrow.
I make a motion that we sign this resolution, a number, and read it for passage.
I got one more question.
Yeah.
The new site that you want to build the new bathhouse, is it out of the floodplain?
It is, yeah. That's one of the requirements. They make you go through search it through some.
So Google you've had the floodplain. You've had the floodplain mapped.
Yeah, they have the floodplain mapped, and they make sure you do
That's
that.
all I need to know.
Yeah.
Thanks. Second.
All right, so we got a motion and a second to assign this a number and read for passage. Any further discussion?
I would just like to say, after moving past this first step, I would love to see a bit more financial presentation on how this fits into the overall budget, and just for reassurance that,
I also need reassurance. I don't want to be the guy who bankrupts the Parks Department. Of course not. I was telling Mr. Mayor, I do think we have the money to float it, but it puts us in such a close spot until we get that reimbursement from the state. So we can fund this, no problem, I believe, but without taking out a loan, we're just really getting close to the edge. But then we would receive, a hunk of money, $200,000, which would put us back into a good position again. But
I love the project, and I love to see restoration of the original CCC building, and just thinking, before we go to that next step, which I'm sure we'll see that, but I just wanted to make the comment.
No, I totally agree.
Before we go on, I just realized too, so as part of the funding going to restored the old bathhouse?
No, that would be something we would want to pursue after this.
Okay, you had that in here.
Okay.
Yes, just as sort of an idea of what
Future
we could
plan
do, future
for it.
plans. So, in a way to generate extra revenue, which would help to offset the cost of the bathhouse. So,
But you got to have money to fix this up too.
well, we'd have to apply for another grant for historical preservation. That's where I start talking with Cassie and
So, okay.
yeah.
All right.
So just to be clear, this grant is to build a new building, and it has nothing to do with the restoration of the CCC building?
Correct. I mean, yeah, that would be a separate
Gotcha.
project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for that clarification.
Mr. Meyer?
I did notice on my hikes that you are booking a lot of campsites.
Mm-hmm.
You're filling the campground up, aren't you?
We are, and I don't think our facilities can live up to what we.
So you can add more
2016
campsites to pay for this, too.
Yeah, so 2016, we made less than $100,000 down at Leatherwood from just lodging, sales, whatever. 2024, we made, $300,000, which indicates to me that there's a lot of demand, there's a lot of people, we're getting a lot more usage, and we're still relying off 2 toilets and a bunch of porta potties. It's just not sustainable for
That's good to hear.
long-term growth.
All right, any further discussion on this motion? All right, and if not, just let's read for sign a number. Oh, we need a vote?
Yeah.
Okay, read, call for a vote.
Harry Meyer,
Yes?
David
What's the number?
I have to get the vote first before I can assign a number.
Okay.
David Abbazino,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yes?
Michelle Moyer.
Yes.
Signing resolution number 887, a resolution supporting the authorization of the Director of Parks to apply for a grant from the Arkansas Department of Parks and Heritage and Tourism Office of Outdoor Recreation for the construction of a new bathhouse at Lake Leatherwood City Park. Whereas the Eureka Springs Parks and Recreation wishes to pursue and obtain grant funds for the construction of a new bathhouse at Lake Leatherwood City Park, whereas the Eureka Springs Parks and Recreation is applying for an Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism Office of Outdoor Recreation Grants Program in amount of $400,000 for the construction of a new bathhouse at Lake Leatherwood City Park. And whereas the City Council of Eureka Springs, Arkansas understands that this Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism Office of Outdoor Recreation Grants Program is a 50-50 matching grant, with $200,000 coming from Eureka Springs Parks and Recreation, and the grant itself of $200,000, bringing the total to $400,000. Now therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, that Section 1, the City Council does support the application for a grant. Section 2, the Director of Parks and Recreation is hereby authorized to apply for a grant from the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism Office of Outdoor Recreation Grants Program in the amount of $400,000 for the purpose of construction of a new bathhouse at Lake Leatherwood City Park.
All right, thank you all. Okay, that brings us up to our next item of business. It's
Number 5.
yeah.
I'm good to go? Okay, thank you.
Number 3.
Yeah, vacant building, Steve Holyfield.
We brought up vacancy tax, and our lawyer Heather did not like that idea too much. So I asked that she could, you said there may be other things that could address this issue without vacancy.
What is your goal?
Our goal is to motivate people who own vacant buildings in town to do something with them.
Are they just vacant? They're not unsafe in any way, or
Well, there's
they're not
a
violating
big variety of different things. Like the one that just burnt, sat there empty for years, been vandalized, people breaking the windows out, then finally someone set it on fire. So.
I mean, if
So-
they're if that is the issue, that you've got a building that's uninhabited, it's a nuisance properly, ultimately, you know, it's a public nuisance, it's hazardous, you know, broken windows, it's caught on fire, that kind of, you know, condemnation may be the route to go to get rid of those.
What's that? What'd you call it?
To condemn the properties, right? But at that point, you're taking them down. You're not rehabbing the structure and getting people in there. Vacancy taxes are hard. They do exist in larger cities. I couldn't find one that has been implemented in a town of this size. They are being challenged. I know several in California have been held unconstitutional as they violate the takings clause. So there's just a lot of pitfalls in them. They're hard to manage, keeping up with the tax structure, determining when a building is deemed vacant, you know, how many days does somebody have to live there, what exceptions are you going to allow, like if someone has a financial hardship or they're, you know, waiting on better timing. There are just a lot of things to consider when you're doing a vacancy tax. If we can do something maybe to incentivize property owners to utilize their properties as opposed to penalizing them with taxes, offering some sort of incentives, I think that would be a better way to go. And if there are just problem properties that are violating city ordinances, they're, you know, the windows are broken out, their roofs are tarped, and we can deem them unsafe. And the goal is to just get rid of the properties altogether in a beautification, you know, to beautify the city and eliminate those hazards, then condemnation is probably the route to go. I know a lot of communities have land banks where then the city offers, I don't know if they're delinquent taxes on properties, looking at forgiving those delinquent property taxes and, you know, in exchange, or liens on the properties to donate those properties to the city. The city can then resell those to developers and place conditions on those so that they, if they're in your historical district, if they have to meet some criteria, you know, you can set all kinds of requirements on a building like that in a resale. So I think there are just other routes that would probably be much more beneficial to you than a vacancy tax.
A couple people have expressed the concern that people are breaking in and living in these buildings, you know, transients or vagrants or something. And the concern is that then they start breaking into neighboring houses. It also brings down their property value if they have a vacant house sitting there when people are breaking in. I know when I was on HDC, we would send out flyers about this is what a historic district is. And they would send them to a post office box in Oklahoma, and people would never respond. So just trying to figure out, I mean, the name and address is on the register for voting, but they're not involved. They don't care what happens to their property. Apparently, they won't respond to letters. Someone else sent me this suggestion of a empty building registry where you do something like that. And apparently, there's the Arkansas Vacant Building Revitalization Act. And is that something we should consider, you think?
We can look at that. Again, that would be up to you guys to determine, you know, how many days a year does a building need to be inhabited or utilized before you declare it vacant. I don't know how many people, you know, this is a tourist town, people that are here for the summer or they come in the fall, you know, and so that's going to be tricky to make that determination. And then again, to come up with exceptions to that where, you know, if you want exceptions, you know, if people are having hardships or there's a construction plan that they can't develop right now, you know, there's a lot of considerations that would have to go into what you deem to be an uninhabited building.
I've lived here 12 years, and I can name a half a dozen properties that's been sitting there empty the entire time I've lived here, just sitting there, you know. And then we have a low-income housing problem here in town, but then we have all these buildings that are just sitting there. There's apparently no one wanted to do it.
I think there's probably a way to incentivize if you want to allow, a property owner to rehab a property or utilize that property for housing for low-income families, to incentivize that there, as opposed to, again, doing a penalty with a vacancy tax.
I just thought a penalty would motivate them to either do something with it or sell it,
Yeah.
Instead of just, if it was just paying the property taxes year after year after year, and it just sits there, and then sooner or later, what the term is demolition by neglect, it starts falling in on itself, and then they want to come to us and want to tear it down. So, and it's, again, a historic town.
You mentioned Arkansas Revitalization Act.
Yeah.
Is that under the preservation program, or?
I don't know,
where
just
does
someone
that
just
come
sent me,
from?
it's pretty general, what I got. But it says, according to policy, community progress towns like Pine Bluff, Helena, West Helena, and Elaine have used it. I even got an application on one of them that you fill it out, and then you basically, they have to fill this out every year, and they pay a fee for having.
Why don't you send that to myself? And
I don't think I have it on the computer, but I can give you a copy of it.
Okay, yeah.
I can get it and send it out as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm curious, do we have any sort of like inventory on how many properties are actually vacant? Do we have some sense of the extent to which this is?
Paul's still here? Paul just did a quick inventory, I think. That's
Rochelle, that might be something also that Main Street could help us with.
So it's
Paul, what did you?
It's pretty tough to find residential inventory, and I did find, I think I had eight businesses downtown that were empty, and like most of them were for rent. All of them were for rent, except one was being remodeled and 2 were for sale. So all of those are pretty much accounted for on the commercial side. The residential side, I found like 6 houses that are pretty bad shape that we're working with 2 of them, and 2 of them have building permits, trying to get those restored. Then 4 others, we're still in the talks with them. So there's a lot of vacant houses in town, but you can't tell really who lives there, because some people come here for maybe 1 or 2 days a month, sometimes, every weekend or something like that.
So it's difficult to even know how many abandoned houses we have in town. Sounds like.
Yeah, and what constitutes an abandoned house? Those are tricky criteria to establish and then to determine what meets those requirements.
I'm sure there's things out there to help define that, right, though, because there's been a lot of studies on like public health issues related to vacated buildings. And I mean, because if you have squatters in a building, right, they're probably using the restroom in that area. They're probably cooking whatever they're eating, possibly doing other things, right, which poses public health hazard to.
If we know those, we can make sure the building's boarded up.
Right.
Is that's what happens now if you have a building that's suspected to be that way?
Yep. Yeah, and notify the police and the building inspector to keep an eye on it. And and it depends a lot too on the citizens. We have pretty good citizens involvement around here. If somebody sees something going on, they're usually not bashful about calling and letting you know, letting one of us know.
Well, and when you're enforcing your code ordinances, like your boarding and security ordinances, that kind of thing, I mean, those can end with citations to the property owner, and as those build up, again, those are things that can then be used in negotiation if it's something that the city wants to step in and have these properties donated, and then offer them for resale or rehabilitation, that kind of thing. That would be an incentive for someone to then turn the property over to someone who would be a better steward of the property.
And we started a land bank probably 15 years ago. That's still in existence as far as I know.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a land bank?
Right.
Okay.
So,
I mean, that may be if we're not utilizing that resource, something we might want to look into utilizing. And a lot of the things that a land bank does, you can do without a formal land bank.
We were looking at
too,
vacant
so,
property
yeah.
too. Yeah. Mr. Holyfield, anything else?
Yep.
Anybody else on the subject? All right. Move on to, okay, Ms. Moore, your update on bond issue. You have additional information?
We pretty much covered that in unfinished business 3.
All right.
Thank you.
Next item is Michael. We've got a resolution amending the adopted 2025 budget. Do we have anybody?
Motion to discuss.
Second.
All right. Have any questions, comments for Michael? Kind of went over a lot of it during our workshop. Mr. McClung?
Yeah, I think we've been over this, and I think we're pretty much good to go. I'd like to go ahead and make a motion that we sign this resolution to number and read it for passage.
Second.
All right. We got a motion by Mr. McClung and seconded by Mr. Meyer to sign this resolution to number and read it for passage. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
David Avanzino,
Yep. Yes, sorry.
Steve Holyfield,
Yes.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Rochelle Moyer,
Yes.
Terry McClung.
Yes?
Signing resolution number 888, a resolution amending the adopted 2025 budgets for the city of Eureka Springs, Arkansas as a result of the mid-year budget review process. Whereas in the opinion of the City Council, the 2025 fiscal budget should be amended to reflect the following changes, both revenue and expenditure budgetary amounts as set forth hereafter. Now therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, Section 1, this resolution shall be known as the 2025 Mid-Year Budget Resolution for the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas for the 12-month period beginning January 1st, 2025 and ending December 31st, 2025. And the attached documents present revisions to estimates for revenues and expenditures for the period. All revenues and appropriations are based on estimated revenues, and all estimates are subject to change during the budgetary period. Section 2, the amounts for revenues and expenditures proposed in this 2025 mid-year amended budget are hereby authorized and appropriated for the purposes set forth in the calendar year ending December 31st, 2025. The amendments are as follows. Revenue, general fund, original budget $5,931,600, amended budget $6,089,700. That's a $158,100 increase. Street fund, original budget $1,086,000, amended budget $1,022,350 with a $63,650 decrease. Lot fee, original budget $480,850, amended budget $508,850. $28,000 increase. General fund capital, $369,500, original budget, amended budget $341,500, $28,000 decrease. Debt service, $305,500, original budget, amended budget $302,000, $3,500 decrease. Admin and justice, $89,700, original budget, amended budget $87,930. That's a $1,770 decrease. Court automation, original budget $8,925, amended budget $9,075 increase. Fireman's pension, original budget $101,340, amended budget $97,000, $4,340 decrease. Water sewer, original budget $2,508,200, amended budget $2,929,450. It's a $421,250 increase. Transit, original budget $1,971,552, Amended budget, $1,967,752, $3,800 decrease. Expenditures. General fund, original budget, $5,905,521.40. Amended budget, $6,009,260. That's a $103,738.60 increase. Street fund, $988,800 for original budget. Amended budget, $917,870. $70,930 decrease. Lot fee, $463,100 for original budget. Amended budget, $507,250. It's a $44,150 increase. General fund capital, original budget, $369,500. Amended budget, $341,500. $28,000 decrease. Debt service, $305,500 original budget. Amended budget, $302,000, $3,500 decrease. Admin and justice, original budget, $89,680. Amended budget, $87,930, $1,750 decrease. Court automation, $8,800 original budget. Amended budget, $8,800 decrease. Fireman's pension, $101,000 original budget. Amended budget, $97,000, $4,000 decrease. Water sewer, original budget, $2,393,690. Amended budget, $2,911,112. And that's a $517,422 increase. Transit, $1,967,205 original budget. Amended budget, $1,942,710. It's a $24,495 decrease. Total revenue, all funds, original budget, $12,863,167. Amended budget, $13,365,532, and that's a $502,365 increase. Total expenditures, all funds, $12,592,796 original budget. Amended budget, $3,124,632. It's a $531,836 increase. Net of revenue expenditures, original budget, $270,371. Amended budget, $240,900.
All right, thank you all very much. Okay, we have several resolutions coming up. The first one is a motion discussed for consideration vacating section of Alpena.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Mr. McClung.
I have a question for the city attorney. Didn't you tell us that there is an avenue that we can follow, or a path to follow, that we don't have to read these things in total?
Yeah, you can suspend the rules and read by title only.
And just...
Even on the first reading?
We can. Because it's a resolution, we can still do that?
Do that.
And you can do it on an ordinance.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the rules and approve that we assign this resolution a number and read it by title only.
Second.
Okay. Mr. McClung made motion. Mr. Myers seconded to suspend the rules and read by, to give this resolution a number and suspend the rules and read by title only. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Mr. McClung.
I think the public needs to know that these are for vacancy requests for alleys and streets amongst property. There's going to be this one, and there's going to be 2 more additional. And so I think the meat and potatoes will come out when we actually have the hearing on these, and then have they require an ordinance to pass. So,
And these are for vacating, it's a public hearing for the public to consideration vacating these streets and alleys
yes.
in through here. So this is one up on top of the hill on Highway 62, the other two are down on Mill Hollow. So, but Ms. McClung
No,
is correct.
this one's by the Century 25 building.
Yeah, Highway 62.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you said Mill.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, any further discussion? All right, hearing none, roll call.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Rochelle Moyer,
Yes.
Steve Holofield.
Yes.
Signing resolution number 889, a resolution to set a public hearing date for the consideration of vacating a section of Alpena Avenue.
Okay,
That's it.
that's it. So,
Go on to the next one.
next one.
You have to have a motion to approve the resolution.
We need motion yet.
You have to have a motion to approve the resolution. You just
We
read
did.
it by title. That was just to suspend the rules and
Oh,
read by
that's right.
title only.
Oh,
Okay,
I'm
now-
sorry, I put them both under one. I did, thought I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does
Okay, I
it.
missed that part, but I don't think you should do that.
Okay,
They should,
well, yeah.
it should be two separate votes.
Okay, thank you. Then a motion to approve, to approve it now.
To approve
the resolution.
resolution 889. Okay, any, did we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Avanzino seconded Mr. McClung's motion. Roll call.
Rochelle Moyer,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Harry Meyer.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Want to try again, Mr. McClung?
Yeah, for the, this next one, motion to discuss, first of all.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, I would like to suspend the rules and read this resolution by title only for the vacancy of property.
Sign a number, read by title only.
Sign in the number and read it by title only.
Okay. Any further discussion?
You know, we can't assign it a number, we got to vote on that to approve it. That's when it gets the number.
Yeah, okay.
A second.
This is uncharted territory for us.
All right. Did I hear a second on that?
I think Harry made the second.
Okay, Mr. Myers made seconded. Okay, roll call.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
Rochelle Moyer,
Yes.
Steve Holofield.
Yes.
Signing resolution number 890, a resolution to set a public hearing date for consideration of vacating a section of Lone Street.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve this resolution.
Second.
9-0.
All right, Mr. McClung made motion to approve resolution 890, and Mr. Myers seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Rochelle Moyer,
Yes.
Harry Meyer.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion to discuss the next item, number 8.
Second.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the rules and read this next resolution by title only.
Yes. Second.
Mr. McClung made the motion, Mr. Myers seconded to read the resolution by title only. Suspend the rules and read title only. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
Rochelle Moyer.
Yes.
Mr. McClung, one last time.
Hang on.
So she has to read it.
That's true. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead myself now. Getting the ordinance drunk.
Resolution number 891, a resolution to set a public hearing date for consideration of vacating a section of an unnamed alley.
I'd like to make a motion we approve resolution number 891.
I second.
Yeah, Mr. McClung made the motion to approve 891, and Mr. Myers seconded. Any further discussion?
I have one thing.
Okay.
And that is for all these applicants, I looked at these and I'm not sure I get a clear understanding of what the alleys and streets are that they're defining here. So come prepared, please, to enlighten me a little bit more, because I'm looking at them and I just not, it's a little bit vague. I think I get something on it, but it's...
I can sit down with you after the meeting and just show you on the survey if you want.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
Okay, yeah. It's kind of hard to explain from over here, and I tried to highlight it, but there were too many marks on the survey, and I think it just confused it more. So I'll just, if you guys want to come individually with your surveys, I'll show you. It's kind of easier to describe visually.
While we're on that topic, I'm curious, because I haven't sat on meetings that discuss this yet, but do we have like a larger plan for the city so that we could measure, like, for example, if it's an area that was ripe for development or something, we might not want to vacate that area because that's been slated for future development? Do we have any plans like that we could also have access to?
All these go before the Planning Commission, Public Works, and Fire Department to look and see about their access to that and if it's stopping anything.
Public
We do
Works
not
and
have
Parks.
a master
Public Works and
plan
Parks
per
would have
se.
like a larger master plan?
And there are specific statutory requirements that have to be met before you can approve vacating a street or an alley. And one of those is that it can't have been used for the last 5 years.
Okay.
So.
But a lot of it's up to the city too to look at and see. But most of these I can, it's pretty obvious. Yeah. So.
One of them has a building built on it, so it's not going to be used.
Yeah, there's specific statutory requirements they have to meet before it can be approved.
Okay. I guess my plan was more about not how it's been used for the last bit, but moving forward, our vision for the city, if there's,
a lot of the Planning Commission.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so we got a motion and a second to read this by title only.
We've already done that.
Yes.
All we need to do.
Now we need a vote.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Rochelle Moyer,
Yes.
Terry McClung.
Yes.
All right. That brings us up to our last item of business is Hospital Commission Workshop Update Report.
Yes, so it seems like we're all exhausted at this point, but because we don't talk outside of the meeting, I just felt it important to provide an update. Following the workshop, I thought it was enlightening, and as a result of that, I followed up with some of the things that they had talked about and how they responded to the questions that were asked. And so I have asked for a verification of the aging accounts receivable, just so that we can see that that reconciles with what they've placed on that line. I've also asked for an opinion on the impact of bad debt recorded on the balance sheet. It's recorded as a liability on the balance sheet right now, and my understanding of our conversation is that at some point, that amount is going to move to the income statement as a loss or bad debt. And the reason that this matters is because the chair continues to emphasize that the commission, to the commission and the public, that it's profitable, but they're not currently reporting the bad debt. So I'm also looking at the hospital bank balances. I've asked for a verification of the transfer of that $16,000 that was in the commission only account to the commission money market account. Just want to see that that actually has happened. Again, looking at the bank balances, that was not reflected on the bank balance report. And in fact, the hospital bank balance is decreased by $2,190,581 since January 1. So that's a net loss reported of $159,000. But once that bad debt moves from the balance sheet to the income statement, that looks more like over $500,000 loss. So I'm not saying that that's done purposely to inflate the profit, but I'm saying that that's not accounted for. So I've asked for an accounting of that. I've also asked for a reconciliation of the July reduction in the bank balance by $518,000. That number doesn't reconcile with their cash and equivalents on the balance sheet. So balance sheet isn't balancing, basically. And I'm just asking for clarification on that. I do think it's important to know that even though they're showing a profit, or they're saying that there's a profit, the bank balances continue to decrease significantly, and I think we should continue to watch that. And finally, I think if the hospital is going to be sustainable moving forward, both the commission and the new leadership need to know what the true net patient revenue is. So talking about when that amount on the balance sheet moves to the income statement, what is the true net patient revenue? And what are the actual expenses? I think the CEO would probably love to know that as well. And finally, I feel strongly that a revised budget should be developed to guide their spending decisions through the end of the year, particularly given the uncertainty around government funding for rural health. Municipalities are required by state law to operate with a revised budget. We just approved one. Michael did a lot of work on that. I'm sure he would say there's a lot of uncertainty, but it's necessary to maintain financial stability and to prevent deficit spending and adapt to changing conditions throughout the year, which we heard them say there were lots of changing conditions. All the more reason to operate with a budget. We now have more than 12 months of data operating as a rural emergency hospital. I felt that that was downplayed a little bit, like, oh, we're still struggling from the transition. We have a full year's worth of data now on how it's going to look like for a rural emergency hospital operation in terms of revenue and expense. So I think it's possible to develop a revised budget to guide the hospital's future, and my hope is that commission and leadership will very quickly make the necessary steps to ensure financial stability. And then we can follow up on what we get as a result of those asks. And that's it.
Mr. McClung?
I have one question. Now, when they provide this information, I guess you request them to get it to the mayor and he disseminates to us, is that, or are they providing to you directly and you'll get it to us through the mayor's office, whichever happens?
I think Ms. Moyer asked Michael for that, that information.
Okay.
And once Michael gets that information, then we'll get it and submit it to the council.
That's all I have.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else? All right. Hearing none, we're into agenda setting. Anybody?
Yeah.
Mr. McClung?
Yeah, I would like to put on the agenda for the next meeting an ordinance to remove the I&I fund. Now, I won't be here.
Well, why don't we wait until you get here?
Pardon me?
Why don't we wait until you get here?
You want to wait till sure, that's fine.
Yeah.
And I'll be here the second meeting.
Yeah, let's wait until you're here so you can present it, since that's your idea.
Just go ahead and put it on for the second meeting of September.
All right. Anybody else? All right, and we'll go into council comments. Mr. Holyfield, I'll start on your side tonight.
CAPC regular meeting this Wednesday, the 27th, 5 p.m. Our workshop set for next month is 10th at 5 p.m. Topic's not yet determined, but I think it's going to be budget, next year's budget. So that's all I have.
Mr. Almanzino.
Yes, thank you. So a little update on Tushy. We have a Zoom meeting scheduled coming up soon. I know, Mr. Mayor, you can't be there, but we're still going to go on with it.
Yeah, what's the date of that again?
Stand by. Good Lord.
You can email it to me.
Oh my gosh, I will. Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, so it is coming up. I did invite 5 hotel managers / owners to be on the Zoom call as well, because I feel that that's where we can make the most impact, is if hotels can participate. I've only heard back from 1, so if there are other managers out there, please get with me. I'd love to have you guys as a part of this. I also want to say thanks to the VW weekend. It was a fantastic weekend. Also, many of us know the unfortunate hit and run that occurred in our city not too long ago, well, this past weekend, actually. And the only information that the police has to go on is a white pickup truck. It's very unfortunate that that's all one of the victims saw, but in the moment, that's all she could get was a white pickup truck.
And it wasn't really in the city, it was out at Elk Ranch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have, I do know that they think that that truck may have traveled south on Main Street, because they're asking people that live on Main Street that have cameras, exterior cameras, if they could view the camera footage for any white trucks, because they asked me for that. Yeah, and looking forward to Labor Day coming up. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Ms. Moyer?
I wanted to say special thanks to Ida for all of the reading you did this evening. It was a lot, and well done. Also want to say thanks to Public Works for all the good work that they're doing in reducing water rates. I know that's a lot of hard work. I see them digging up the streets every day. And for other city departments, Michael, Finance Department, Paul, and the Building Department. So planning, thank you. We have lots of amazing people working for the city, and appreciate you.
Mr. Meyer?
Well, I guess we're going to have a little meeting to show people how to save water on their bills, and I can make a few suggestions right now. When I bought my house, I put all new toilets in that just use a half a gallon to flush, and shower heads that use less water. And, you know, with 3 people living in my house, my last bill was $84. And that's with 2 sets of washers and dryers.
Is that your total bill?
Total bill.
Water, sewer,
and
garbage, trash, everything.
So,
good for you.
It can be done.
Yeah. All right, Mr. McClung.
Yeah, it's not easy for me to raise water rates. It's not something that I wanted to do. It's not, you know, I got paid as like everybody else, but it's, I understand the hardships on the residents as well as the businesses. We all do. It's unfortunate, but we're not alone in this kind of situation. Cities all over the state are having to do what we have to do, because it's one of those things that has been out of sight, out of mind for years. And I mean years. And eventually it's going to catch up with everybody. And it's catching up with us, Huntsville, I mean, all over. And we just have to accept it as a community and pay the bill. We're not inflating anything in what we're raising as far as rates go. It's all dictated by formulas and things that are provided by the state, that part of it is basically out of our hands. The idea of the potential sales tax to cover infrastructure, we tried to do that, like Butch said, the mayor said a number of years back. It's time to put it back on the drawing board, and the community, along with our tourists, we have to step up to the plate and accept that responsibility. It's ours as a whole. So, it's not fun for any of us sitting up here to make these kind of decisions, but it has to be done. So I love this town as much as anybody. It's home, and I want it to stay that way for myself and the future people that live here. I want it to be a good place to live.
All right, thank you, Mr. McClung. I have to agree with Mr. McClung and reiterate, I was born and raised here, and I've got I love the town, and when I first came in, I wanted to do something on our infrastructure, and that was one of my criteria and wanted to do, and we got beat pretty bad around the head and shoulders with our sales tax trying to do something. We did get the infrastructure, the I&I, and came up with an innovative way that would help somewhat for a little bit. And it did help give us some money, but for years we have neglected our aging infrastructure. And like Mr. McClung said, out of sight, out of mind, but we have 150-year-old pipes in there. And when you dig up our last water line that we just put down, you couldn't hardly get water through it. It had corroded so much through the water line. So the whole infrastructure needs work, and we've been putting this off so long that we have to finally bite the bullet and do it. And I hate that the state's finally come up and forced us to do it. And we're trying to make it and find the easiest way and softest way that we can. We didn't get here overnight, and we're certainly not going to solve it overnight either. It's going to take a lot of time and effort, and hopefully with citizens working, and I think, as mentioned, there's a lot of water conservation efforts that I think we're going to become more aware of and we can use that will help everybody all over and through there. I just got through, and I had to miss our workshop with the hospital because I was down at an executive committee with Arkansas Municipal League last week, and we discussed a lot of the new laws that were coming up and a lot of the laws that are being proposed. And there's a lot of new regulations that are going to come out affecting property and property owners and the way our legislators look at property. And how we're going to have to deal with those issues too. Talking about vacant buildings, and a lot of the legislators feel that, and we're going to see it with our short-term housing and short-term lodging, that property owners have the right to do whatever they want with their property, and municipal government shouldn't say anything to them. So that's a battle we're going to have to fight on there. But it was a good conference. There was mayors from all over the state were there, and so we had a good time through that. As far as events going, we had a lot of good weekend event, a lot of good music, and we're having even more coming up. We've got Eureka Yin, Eureka Springs Women Artists, which is a exhibition celebrating the talent and creativity of local women's artists, and it's going to be from 10 to 2 at the museum up in Eureka Springs Art Museum, 44 Kings Highway, the old high school, up through there, so you get a chance to run by through there. Basin Park Concert Series, Friday the 29th, we'll have Mountain Alice from 4 to 6. Saturday will be Casey and the Attaboys, and then Sunday will be the String Unio, if I'm pronouncing that right. And that's going to be from 2 to 4 on Sundays. Saturdays and Friday and Saturday will be 4 to 6. And hopefully with our cooler weather, it's going to be a lot more time, because when I was down there last week, it was pretty hot, but there's a lot of people down there, and a lot of visitors there. The Original Folk Festival, 78th Original Folk Festival. It's going to be September 4th, 5th, and 6th. And this year we've got the Ozark Mountain Daredevils, the Steel Wheels, the Hellbenders, and Handmade Moments. So it's going to be a great music weekend coming up for that. The Hedge Hoppers with Still on the Hill. And if you've never seen the Hedge Hoppers, there's the third graders from Eureka Springs School that will be doing traditional Ozark dance and song, preserving the square dancing. And when I was growing up, they had the Hedge Hoppers were here with George Head, and that was just one of the things on Wednesday night. You had the Hedge Hoppers up there at square dancing, and a lot of our people were part of that, including myself. And then they'll have the Still on the Hill. And if you've never heard the Still on the Hill, they're a great folk duo, and with their own writing their own songs, and it's a great, just a great music. And that will be Thursday, September 4th, from 6 to 7 at the auditorium. And then the famous Barefoot Ball will be held at the auditorium from 7:30 to 9:30 on Thursday, September the 4th, with Front Porch and the Patty Steele Band. And again, this is a bluegrass blended band with old-time mountain sound. And then, of course, as I mentioned, the Ozark Festival will be going on for, the Crafts Fair in downtown Eureka. And then on the 54th, we'll have the Antique Classic Car Show. And then we'll have on Saturday, the 6th, will be the Jig Dance and Tradition Percussion Workshop. Mountain Alice will be playing in Basin Park on Saturday, September the 6th, from 12:30 to 1:30. And then Metal Makers will be from 1:45 to 2:45. And the bands all the way from down to 6 p.m., actually 8 p.m., will conclude with Drumming in the Park. So there's going to be music in the park from starting at 11 o'clock in the morning on September the 6th, all the way down to the community dance in Basin Park at 5 to 6, and then Drumming in the Park. And then the Ozark Mountain Daredevils and the Steel Wheel will be live in the auditorium on the 6th at 7:30. So a lot of activity, a lot of good music, a lot of things going on. So get out and enjoy it. And I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you all.